Happy Monday, everyone. My name is meteorologist Heather Kane. It's time for our daily hail forecast, sponsored by C3 Group, MERLIN Law Group, American Contractor, as well as Atlas. Thank you guys for sponsoring our videos, and welcome to Atlas for being a video sponsor. So let's get right into our weather headlines. We do have another chance to see severe weather, not just in the Central Plains today, but also in a few other areas across the U.S. So we'll talk about exactly what areas may see that severe weather. And then getting into tomorrow, really not a big change in terms of location on where we're expecting the potential for some hail and wind tomorrow. And then we will check in on the tropics to see if there's anything worth looking at out there. But before we get into our forecast, we do have a few events coming up. The first one is this is going to be this coming Wednesday down in Grapevine, Texas. This is the NTRCA Not So Many Trade Show at the Grapevine Convention Center. So make sure you come on by and say hi to us at that trade show. And then the next activity is, or the next, event, I guess activity is just a different word for event, but you guys know what I mean. The next one's going to be on June 23rd, so that's just a few weeks away. Also in Grapevine, Texas, this is a lunch and learn event at 1901 South Main Street, and more information can be found here. And then lastly, we have the Florida Roofing and Sheet Metal Expo from July 19th to the 22nd down in Daytona Beach. And more information about this can be found at www.floridaroof.com. So let's take a look at yesterday's storm reports. It was a pretty active day. No major maps in terms of 3-star or higher were made, at least the best of my knowledge, but we did have a lot of reports come in. We had plenty of reports here in Idaho, near the Idaho-Washington border, as well as one or two here in Montana. And then we have a mess of reports that came in from Nebraska down to Kansas, as well as into Oklahoma, eastward into parts of Iowa. And then we had a few scatter reports as well here in the southeast, from Louisiana to Mississippi and Alabama. Oh, I guess that's Alabama, that's Mississippi, but yeah, you guys know. Down here into the panhandle of Florida. So it was a decent day. No major maps, like I said, were made, but there are some maps available for purchase online now. So here are our current conditions across the United States. Basically, the western half of the U.S. is relatively quiet, but we do have some heavier precipitation in a few parts of the U.S. right now. The first is here in the northern plains from Montana into central North and South Dakota, as well as a few storms just to the east of Omaha and to the southwest of Des Moines. And then we have some more rain falling in the Great Lakes region from Michigan down to parts of Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, southwestward to the St. Louis area down to Memphis. You can see a little bit of a spin here. There's a low pressure associated with this activity. And then we have some pop-up showers and storms going on right now in mostly for central Florida. So let's take a look at our current temperatures across the U.S. For the most part, most of us are pretty comfortable. The only really big exceptions are here in southern Oklahoma down into Texas. We're at 88 already in Dallas, 89 in Houston. You go further north though, and the temperatures start to drop off into the upper 70s and even some upper 60s here. So like I said, pretty comfortable overall for the most part. Dew points, really sticky, really humid, especially here in Oklahoma and down into Texas, eastward along the Gulf Coast. Elsewhere, it's pretty comfortable in terms of humidity. So here are our future radars. There are a few of them here for you. As like I said at the beginning of this forecast, there are a few areas that we're watching for severe weather. We're going to start here in the northern and central plains. This is a few moments from now. This is at 12:30. The HRRR model, again, one particular run of this one particular model. There are a few storms going on right now. As we get into later on this afternoon, this is at 4 p.m. Central Time, you can see more activity is expected to develop from Iowa to Nebraska, westward to northern Colorado. I think Denver, if you see storms today, nothing's expected to be severe, unfortunately, for you guys waiting for your first decent storm of the year. Rapid City, you can see some storms moving on through your area as we get into later on into the evening. This is at 9 p.m. now. We can see some stronger storms are expected to develop here in western Nebraska down into western Kansas as well, and then getting into the overnight, that activity will start to move on to the southeast and become more linear in nature. So it looks like there'll be a better chance to see some more wind-related storms here as we get into parts of southern Nebraska down into Kansas. And then as we get into the overnight to near daybreak, that activity will start to move into northern and then down into central Oklahoma. So we do have a chance to possibly see some marginally severe weather here in Oklahoma City as we near daybreak. So that's area one. The second area, this is sponsored by See-Through Group. Thank you guys for sponsoring. We do have, like we just saw in the current radar, some showers going on right now. That's going to continue as we get into the next few hours. Let's scroll ahead to 4 p.m. Central Time. This is 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We do start to see the potential for some storms to develop here along of a cold front that's in the region. Some storms as well just to the southeast of St. Louis, Indianapolis. You can get in on the action as well as down to Memphis. And then getting into the rest of the evening with more of the heating of the day, we could see some more severe weather pop up and move on to the east as well. So maybe as far east as central Ohio, we can see some severe weather there. I think Chicago, as of right now, it's just going to be some loud thunderstorms, but you know, Mother Nature's always full of surprises. We'll keep an eye on you guys anyway, just in case. And then we can see a line starting to form here in parts of Kentucky and Tennessee as we near 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So Nashville, northward to Louisville, you guys can get some potentially severe weather later on this evening. We get into the overnight and it just turns into this really big mess of heavier rain, maybe some loud thunderstorms, although I think the severe threat should wind down as we get into the overnight and near daybreak. So plenty of rain with that cold front. And then down into Florida, just those garden variety pop-up storms that we see this time of the year. We are nearing the official start of summer, so Florida, this should not be a surprise. This is pretty typical for you guys to see some pop-up storms during the afternoon. With that heating of the day, they'll continue to fire up, and then as we get into the evening, you can see as the sun sets, those storms should die off as we lose the heating as well as the instability. And then getting into the overnight, we quiet down quite a bit here in Florida. So here is our hail forecast for today. This is Storm Miranda, so this is the M. Thank you to American Contractor Show for sponsoring. So again, we do have a few areas that we're watching for hail today. The main area, again, this is with Miranda, is basically going to stretch from Rapid City southeastward to North Platte. I think this is the best area that we're going to see the potential for large hail today. I think anywhere from 2 to 2.5 inch hail is possible in this region, and then some large hail up to golf ball sizes possible here in Garden City, Kansas. And then as we go eastward, the chances will start to drop off a bit, but some marginally severe hail up to $half size is still possible from Omaha eastward to Des Moines. And then we also have another area here in basically the Ohio Valley down into the Tennessee Valley, Memphis, Nashville, northward to Indianapolis. Again, the hail sizes don't look to be that large, but we could see up to $half size hail for any storms that do develop. And then another marginally severe risk down here in parts of Florida, including Orlando, northward to Jacksonville, and then parts of southeast Georgia. So that is our hail for today. And then for the wind, basically the same three areas. The first one, again, is going to be stretching from the Rapid City area down into North Platte, southward of Garden City, Kansas, eastward to as far east as Wichita. 60 to 70 mile per hour gusts look to be the highest that we'll see from any of the storms that do reach severe limits. And then our second area looks to stretch a little bit further north with that cold front, Detroit. You can see up to 60 mile per hour gusts, although I think the chances are going to be pretty low. And then those chances stretch again down to Indianapolis, Nashville, and Memphis. And I think this area will see the best chance for those 60 to 70 mile per hour gusts, as it looks like there's a little bit more instability, as well as that low moving on to the east as well. And then lastly, another marginal risk here for most of Florida, including Orlando, up to Jacksonville and southeast Georgia. So let's get into it tomorrow. We do have another risk basically in some of the same areas for tomorrow. This is at 9 a.m. waking up, hopefully already at work. So this is again one particular model of the HRRR and one particular run. We're going to wake up and storms will already be through Oklahoma City, and some lingering showers around with that round of overnight storms will still be sticking around. Then getting into the afternoon, as we get that heating of the day and the instability building up, we'll see more storm development basically from parts of Iowa westward to Nebraska, and once again into maybe as far north as Rapid City, southward to eastern Colorado. Again, unfortunately, it looks like Denver, you're going to miss out on this. We have to keep an eye on like Pueblo. We may get a storm in there. As of right now, though, it doesn't look very good. I think most of it's going to stay to your east. As we get into tomorrow evening, you can see some more robust activity is expected to develop. So basically, like we're seeing today, I think we're going to possibly see some pretty large hail in this area once again, like we may see today. So North Platte down to Garden City. Those may be, once again, the best areas to see that large hail. And then we get into tomorrow night and into Wednesday. You can see basically the same deal that we've been seeing the last, few days. It'll become more of a linear threat. And then as we get into this at 2:30 Wednesday morning, some more thunderstorm activity is possible from Amarillo eastward to Oklahoma City. And another line here from parts of Kansas and Missouri. So this is Kansas City. And getting it to daybreak, you can see all that starts to move off to the southeast. So here is tomorrow's hail forecast, sponsored by Merlin. Thank you for sponsoring, you guys. Let's check in on what I'm thinking for tomorrow. Like I just mentioned a few times, it's going to be almost the same exact area that's under the gun today to possibly see some very large hail. So North Platte, Garden City, this will be the best chance that we'll be seeing tomorrow. Up to 2.5-inch hail is going to be possible for you guys again, as well as some large hail possible as far south as Amarillo, although I think the chances here in Amarillo are going to be they're going to be pretty low. And then those chances of hail will start to drift off, as we're expecting more of a linear threat here from Omaha to Kansas City, Wichita, down into Oklahoma City. But $0.5 size hail is possible if we can get any storms to form ahead of the line. And then those chances, marginal chances up to $0.5 size hail, are possible from Little Rock to Memphis to Nashville, Tennessee. And then getting into the wind, same areas are as the hail for tomorrow are going to possibly see up to 70 mile per hour wind gusts. So same cities here, North Platte, Garden City, you guys have the best chance to see those strong gusts. And then some marginal chances from Omaha to Kansas City, southward to Wichita. Here in Oklahoma City, depending how much energy is left as those storms will be arriving pretty late westward to Amarillo, and then those marginal chances stretch eastward to Little Rock, Arkansas, Memphis, and Nashville, Tennessee. So after tomorrow, what's going to be happening? Well, let's take a look at our jet stream. This is sponsored by Atlas. So we do have a little dip here in the jet stream, this little shortwave trough that's going to be producing the chance for severe weather here in the Ohio and Tennessee valleys. And then we have another little one that's going to be moving on in here. Here it is for the central and northern plains this afternoon and getting into tomorrow morning. And then as we get into tomorrow and into Wednesday, this trough will move on to the east. And you can see another little blip here. It's just going to be the same kind of pattern, just these little short waves kind of staying in the same areas for the next few days. So that's Thursday, and then getting into Friday. Some more digging here for Friday to end our week. So, and then that will be moving on to the east for our Saturday. So let's take a look at our look ahead. We do have a few areas that we're going to be keeping an eye on. Again, this is still a few days out, so there are just a few areas that we're going to be watching as we get closer. So this is Wednesday. We have two areas that we're going to be watching. The first is here in the Panhandle, Texas, so Amarillo down to Lubbock. This will be an area that we'll be watching for Wednesday. And then we have another area here from Little Rock, Arkansas, eastward to Memphis and Nashville. And then getting into Thursday, we once again see another chance to see severe weather returning to the Central Plains. So North Platte down to Garden City, eastward to Wichita, maybe as far south as Oklahoma City. And then getting into Friday, we see a chance for severe weather again for Little Rock to Memphis, southward to parts of Mississippi and Alabama. So it looks like the next few days are going to potentially be pretty busy here at the Hill Palace. So make sure you stay tuned to anything in terms of severe weather here at Hill Trace. Now, lastly, we're going to check in on the tropics. We did get our first named storm of the season. Tropical Storm Alex did in fact develop, but he turned into a tropical storm as he entered the Atlantic after he got through Florida. So he's basically just a fish storm now. He's going to be moving off to the northeast pretty quickly as we get into the next 24 hours and just become just a tropical cyclone. And you can see he's just moving out to sea further and further and really not hitting anything. And in terms of any future development at this time, there is nothing within the next few days that we are watching. So Alex was the first storm of the season. We're still, of course, we just started. You guys know how it rolls around here. We really start to get busy as we get into August and into September, so we have plenty of time to see some activity. Here is our list for this year. We've got Alex checked off. The next storm that will develop will be named Bonnie. But as of right now, like we just saw, there's nothing worth watching. It looks pretty quiet at this time. Besides Alex spinning out in the Atlantic, it's pretty quiet. So that's all I have for you today. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, as well as our new TikTok page. That's been a lot of fun, creating some fun content for you guys to watch, whether it's office shenanigans or us out storm chasing. So make sure you follow us there. And then if you have any questions, concerns, if you just want to say hi, you can give us a call at 855-334-4245. You can email us at info@hilltrace.com and check out our website at www.hilltrace.com. And I am meteorologist Heather Kay. I hope you all have a great rest of your Monday.